Living a fulfilling life. Now, as you know, INFJs being introverted intuitive, and of course the other introverted intuitive types have a struggle sometimes living a quality life. Now, what I mean by that is many of the struggles, many of the issues that take precedence in our life as a result of being introverted intuitive, let's call it, okay? I'm going to talk a few things about how we can remedy that. Now, first of all, people, I can tell you in all honesty, in order to find a quality life, first of all, is finding your own inner peace. This is quite possibly the quintessential linchpin in your life, is finding inner peace. And depending on how many times you go through your struggles in your life, how many times you go through your praying, your meditation, maybe your bunker zones, those isolating moments. All these are forging moments that lead you to your own inner peace. But it is something you have to strive for. You have to want to find that inner clarity first before all else seems to fall into place. Okay, so first of all, people, as you know, introverted intuitives typically they're always in their head, as you know. INFJs especially. We're always thinking there first. Our introverted intuition being our primary dominant function keeps us in that hole of our mind, of processing our thoughts, our things, our feelings around us. Now, this keeps us in a constant state of, let's say, putting us in another world within our world. Our secondary world, I mean basically our extroverted sensing world, which is our least dominant function, always takes a back seat to that. So I guess my point is, some of us, at some point, we have to develop our extroverted sensing too. We have to make sure we're in balance with our inner and outer worlds. It's almost like, think of this. Sometimes I can only describe it as you have your sight. You have your world around you that you're always in contact with. I'm always hearing things. I'm seeing my world, smelling the senses of the world. I actually sense what I am. But occasionally there's this almost invisible shield that goes between my sight and sound and what I am. And it's the introverted intuition. It's a shield of the abstract that just kind of is almost an invisible field, in a sense, the only way I can describe it, where you actually become more focused on that invisible shield. Now, you're still seeing everything as vivid as anybody else would. You're hearing everything as vivid. It's that whole inner screen that takes over inside yourself. Now, how do you get past that? Sometimes we zone out. We get so caught up in that. We could be standing in our world, our physical world, and all of a sudden that screen takes over. Now, how do you get out of that? The only thing I can think of is a real conscious effort. You have to put yourself into a situation where you are reminding yourself that you have to stay focused in your real world more than one time a day, because you're always going to be pulled back into that mind of yours, that introverted mind. Now, yes, that introverted mind is helpful. That's your dominant function. It is there for a reason. But at times it shrouds us. It causes these roadblocks, in a sense, within ourselves. That's when we start getting clumsy, start forgetting things, start driving past exits, and lots of things happen, even at work. You know, you're trying to do your job at work and you get caught up in this and you start daydreaming, and work takes you longer to do. Yeah, and typically we're not focused in that way. So these are some of the other qualities of life too. Now, finding peace of mind first and finding your own inner contentment doesn't necessarily get you a free ticket and a pass to finding that inner clarity within yourself. This takes effort. This takes a daily effort, especially when you have a task to do, a procedure you want to do. I mean, you got the plan going on in your head. You got the motion going. You've already planned out what you want to do. Now it's time to do it in that moment. And usually that's a struggle. That's usually where we struggle. Try to get motivated to do it in the first place. And that's typically where it doesn't unfold for you. So, yeah, it takes a personal focus. And you have to remind yourself several times to stay in your real world. Okay, you got to look past that screen that I'm talking about, and just keep yourself planted where you are. And trust me, people, that takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of effort on your behalf in order to keep in there. So these are just a couple of things that are going to make your life a little more valuable. Okay, but also understanding too, as INFJs, typically we're very self-aware. We have a very high level of introspection within ourselves. Now, not to say everybody doesn't have that. Everybody has a level of introspection, but typically INFJs spend so much time alone in their head, okay, that they got a very high level of introspection. So you always have to, in a sense, strive for your true self. Yeah, that's what we're meant to do. We are meant to strive for our authentic, true selves. So finding peace of mind obviously is part of that. But also by finding your true self is finding peace of mind. And of course, as you know, that's a matter of self-discovery that it almost comes naturally as long as you're focused. The thing we have to remember too is that we need to stop wallowing in our own pities most of the time. See, this is one of the things that holds us back to everything. When we stop believing those things, let's say those loathsome things in our head. And we tend to do that where we just say, what's the use? I'm a failure. I'm a nothing. I'm a nobody. Everybody else is doing more than me. I can't seem to find anything that is fulfilling in my life. All I can say is that understanding that you have to find that internal knowing that you don't believe the stuff that you're hearing. You've heard it long enough. You know, that whole introverted feeling that you have that's inferior is always going to put you down, cut you down. And all you can really do is just ignore that thing. When I say ignore it, I mean you have to watch it for what it is. Watch it for the destructive thoughts that it's leading you. And you kind of have to just ignore that. Yeah, our value is not external. We don't have this external radar that we value. Our value is internal. It's our introverted internal guide that guides us, that keeps us rooted. And also understand too that people, one of the greatest things you have, even Carl Jung said something on the idea of finding your authentic self is the privilege of a lifetime. In other words, that's what we're meant to do. We're meant to find our true selves. Okay? Not the self that has been conformed into who we are. Not that self, our true self, which we were born to be. And all these steps typically lead us there. But above all, too, I mean, a lot of it has to do with our own deep introspection, our own deep thought processing of looking within our own self, our own character, our own mind, deep within our own mind. You see, the core of it is that, and I've said this before, that there's that spot in our mind, in our consciousness that we found early on in our life, maybe as children, those moments where we were unhappy, felt alone, felt ashamed for who we were, felt like that failure. Now, I'm not saying you need to do that. Don't keep reminding yourself that, but I'm talking about that lone spot that seems that you are the only one that has access to. Now, you could be alone. You could be amongst other people and still feel that loneliness. But that spot, that lone spot within you, typically we tend to dread that moment we go there because we know we're in for another long bout of sadness, of depression. And it might be days we spend in that lone spot. And this is a part of us we dread. Okay? And as INFJs, you know exactly that spot I'm talking about, that place we go to. Sometimes we can't avoid this place. We don't want to go there, but we're pulled there time and time again through our life. But I'm here to tell you now, people, that spot in your life, when you find your inner peace, when you finally find your stillness, this becomes your greatest place of your refuge. This becomes your greatest place that you can reside back to. You don't feel alone in there. I mean, yeah, you're alone, but you don't feel lonely anymore when you've been fulfilled with some kind of grace, let's call it. So part of it is making sure that we get to that part in our life, is that we spend enough time traveling there, dreading it, but eventually it becomes your greatest place of solace. I can call it that. So this is some of the things we need to strive for as INFJs. Okay? Now I just kind of put it into a whole conclusion in a sense. Now, it takes a long time to figure this out sometimes. Maybe not necessarily. Depends on who you are. Depends on what your proclivities are. It could take somebody less, let's say, physical years. You know, those years that we measure time by. It may take less for some people. It may take more for others. Depending on what and who you are exactly. Because we're all different. Yeah, we may have a similar personality, but we're still different. We're still completely different inside. And our drives are different. And our thoughts and motivations are completely different as well. So everybody has a different time frame. But typically it takes a good majority of your life when you start finding these things. And above all, just understand too that sometimes when you are deeply upset about things you do, but maybe you've done something improperly, maybe you've hurt somebody out of turn, maybe years earlier, and these things keep ruminating back in your mind. This is your guide. This is your conscious trying to tell you need to resolve these things. So maybe in a sense we dread them. They kind of gnaw at us when we feel them, but they're there for a reason. We're supposed to face them and get past them. All right? So we're getting past some of these moments as well, resolving your wrongdoings that you caused, moments that you didn't like yourself either. All these things have to just get resolved. And eventually this is going to lead to a better life. But above all, people fundamentally finding your own inner peace and being okay with being alone with yourself, where you don't have to keep pulling. You don't have to, that FE, that extroverted feeling eventually, it's always there, but it doesn't guide you. It's not something that torments you. It's not something that leads you around like that bull with the nose piercing there. You know, that's just being led. It's not that anymore. Where you could take it or leave it. And typically, you want a more authentic connection anyway. And this is some of your wisdom and maturity. This is your development that you need to strive for. Is that you just find that peace within yourself first. Now, obviously, this is who I am. And I've had this personality my whole life. But some of the things now that I'm starting to discover are just that. It's just the whole knowing that it's a lifetime of discovery that you got to find within yourself. And just never give up. Just know too, INFJs, you do have a certain gift about you. Sometimes it gets shrouded by your curses because you got a lot of drawbacks too, which I've just talked about. But understand too, people, you have an amazing gift. Okay, you're who you are and the impact you have in the world, and your compassion, your heart, your spirit, your understanding of the world, understanding of nature in general, are some amazing gifts that you, not only do you understand them, but in a sense you are part of them. You are like tapped into these things, almost like through a Wi-Fi network. Like you're not just thinking them, you're not just feeling them, but you're part of them. They become part of us. In a way, we merge with these things. We take it as our own. That it's almost like an understanding of nature. We become kind of like melted, merged with what we have around us. This is part of our gift. Is being that whole idea of feeling you're part of something makes you more in depth about what you have around you. Okay? So these are some of the things I just wanted to say. Okay? Now, people, I just turned the camera on today. I said I'm going to just talk. I didn't have a particular theme. I just knew the theme was how do INFJs live their best life? And what is there to strive for? Now, as INFJs, sometimes we figure this stuff out all on the fly as we go along, but we're going to understand too that part of our turmoil in our life, part of our sadnesses and our depression and our longings and things that we go through in our life are not in vain, though. These are our forging moments. These are supposed to fortify you. These are the moments that are building you, strengthening you. So instead of dreading them, well, nobody looks forward to this. Nobody's going to look forward to the hardship and the stress and the pain and the loneliness in your heart. Nobody looks forward to that. But have a mindset that this is making you stronger. Always keep that in mind, is that maybe you might find this out, this real revelation may happen later on in your life, that when you look back upon these times, when you see how much more spiritually, emotionally, mentally strong you are, you'll look back on these moments you had and say, in that moment, yes, it was painful, confusing, and sad for you, but it strengthened you. It made you into who you are. Okay? So just understand, too, that everything starts to fall into place in your life at some point as well. All right. Well, thank you so much for stopping by again and hanging out. Hanging out with Tom Omega. Okay. Even I need occasionally I still need you to hang out with me. Just spend a little time with me. Even if it's just me talking to this camera. I know somebody's out there hearing this, you know what I mean? Okay. So, thank you so much. And please do subscribe and leave your likes and comments on the channel. And until the next time, have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. All right. Thank you.